All right. And that was Pastor Steve Halt with the Road Church, not last Sunday, but this past Sunday, I believe. And that was him praying during a session. And it's so important that we still have prayer. I believe it's important that we still have prayer in schools. And you see, our republic was founded upon godly principles. Don't let anybody tell you different. The principle of individuality, that our rights don't come from government, they don't come from policymakers, but they come directly from God Almighty. And you see, that's where we're at in Colorado, at this precipice of what I would call a conflict, a division. And from what I've seen, this is just my personal observation, is there's a heavy conflict, not only in the legislature, but in Colorado, of individuality and capitalism, and now, which is kind of synonymous with President Trump, and then collectivism and socialism or communism. And we've heard it said that there's legislators that are part of the Socialist Party, and obviously there's legislators that are part of all different parties. So we shouldn't pick and choose, but we have to look at policy. But we also have to look at what motivates people. And I do believe that our rights coming directly from God, which inspired this republic, which is not a democracy, is something that we hold very sacred. And it's very important to families to be able to have these rights, because the rights of the individual connects directly to the family. Like this saying, it takes a village. That's more of the collectivist saying. So what does it mean to have to hold these rights sacred, and what does democracy look like? We're going to be back here on the Peak News. We're going to be talking a little bit more about HB 25-1312, Transgender Bill of Rights. Then we're going to bring Scott Bottoms on, local representative who's spoken out against some things in the legislature, and he has a lot to say on this bill. We'll be back here on the Peak News.
If your mouth could talk, what do you think it would say? Whoa, whoa, whoa. My mouth can talk. It's doing it right now. I know, but I mean, what if your mouth could tell your brain what's up instead of your brain always calling the shots? For example, your mouth might say that silver clip you got when you were 12 might be making you sick. But no, your mouth can keep yourself shut. That's why it's so important to find a holistic dentist who understands that your oral health impacts your overall well-being. If you have old metal fillings and you're concerned about mercury possibly causing serious...
Make this thing work here.
I did a little mini gym rant there. No, I figured it went better.
Remember to stay cheery. Okay.
What's that?
Just remember to stay
Cheery.
Stay cheery and fast paced. But besides that, really good.
Absolutely.
We have the clips lined up, and
We specialize in interior and exterior painting using the best in the industry, Sherwin-Williams Paint, and provide a 10-year warranty on material and labor. Our work is the most important part of a paint job, and we often spend one day on that alone. We are 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Contact us at lewiscustompainting.com. That's lewiscustompainting.com.
For a refreshing new take on wine and cheese, enjoy Vine and Wheel in downtown Colorado Springs. Carefully curated for the wine and cheese lovers, foodies, ladies' night outers, date night planners, and everyone in between for both casual dining and private events. Their menu features the highest quality meats, cheeses, and wines, selected to complement each other in a symphony of flavor. Serving Wednesday through Sunday at 616 South Dahone Street. For more information and to book your table, go to vineandwheel.com. Because wine and cheese are meant to be enjoyed together.
seconds. 10 seconds.
Welcome back to the Peak News. We wouldn't lie to you here, and we're back ready to talk with Representative Scott Bottoms, who has a lot to say. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He has had a lot to say, and he does have a lot to say. But first, let's talk a little bit about this bill that Scott Bottoms wanted to speak on. That's HB 25-1312, which is legal protections for transgender individuals. So basically, this bill has a few different sections, certain parts that have been amended or maybe removed, and there's been a lot of talk about it, a lot of coverage. But the main sections I think that are very important, especially to today's conversation, are the sections 2 and 3. Sections 2, the child custody decisions and determining the best interest of a child for the purpose of determining partial time. And then Section 3, which basically prohibits the courts from another state from interfering with out-of-state gender care. And I can speak directly to this issue because as an investigative reporter, I've talked directly to families, fathers in particular, who have been affected by this very thing, by this very problem. And it seems that there's children that are brought to this state. Maybe there's a parental dispute, and there's a law here that allows gender care. And we have a lot of protections here. As you know, we were the first state to install gender care as an emergency health benefit under the Affordable Care Act. So we have this care here, and if there's a parental dispute, what's to stop one parent from taking a child here? And, that's the laws. So we have this Section 3 here. I encourage you to read through it. And then we have Section 7, which was removed out, and Section 7 that was amended, and then Section 7, which basically talks about dead naming and misgendering as a discriminatory act in the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act. And it prohibits these discriminatory acts in places of public accommodation. So that's what I wanted to kind of talk to Scott a little bit more about today, and just have him expound on what he thinks that means. And then also get his views from the perspective of a legislator and a pastor, because I think it's important that we're led by our faith. And our faith is what guides us. It guides our common sense, but it also allows us to submit to the truth. And we talked a little bit about this on the last show, that when you find God and when you get saved, you humble yourself to the truth. It isn't about what you thought or your conceptions or how you thought it should be. It's about you humbling yourself to the way it truly is in the search for truth, in the search for God. And I think that these things, there's a spiritual element to them. These pieces of legislation that I have seen going forth, and we all know as believers that there is a spiritual battle, and we have to see things with spiritual eyes. So that's why I'm very honored to be able to have Representative Scott Bottoms on today, who is taking some valuable time to take his break and talk to us on his break and speak about this a little bit further, so you have the insight that you need to know as believers, and as well as encouragement, because we don't want to just leave you hanging with saying the quiet stuff out loud, but we want to encourage you as believers that God is in all of this. God is working even when we don't see it. And just like that prayer that Steve Holt said, God is in control. And we submit to him. We submit to those concepts which have founded this country, which keep us in line. So we're going to be back with Representative Scott Bottoms. This is an exclusive, everybody. He's got a lot to say. We're excited about it. Don't miss it. We'll be right back.
You're about on. We don't have Scott on yet. I'm still trying to call him and stuff.
You got his number, right?
I do have his number, but it's not ringing. So anyway, just be ready to do other stuff.
Okay.
In case you need to, like, queue up other. We have other clips for you.
And we're back here on the Peak News. And we've been talking about the Transgender Bill of Rights and HB 25-1312, should I say, the Kelly Loving Act, and all the controversy around it. And we've also been talking about our faith and everything that's going on and how God is in all of this. So we thought it'd be perfect today to bring on local representative Scott Bottoms. And we're going to talk to Scott here in just a second. And then we're also, in our last feature, going to talk about a little bit of coverage from the Gender Affirming Care event that we went up to here recently. And we got some great information up there. And we also heard from some detransitioners. So we're going to talk about that in our final segment. But let's play one of these clips that we have from the original testimony from the committee hearing. While we get Scott on here, do we have that clip of the educator testifying? So we have a local educator here. This is a local educator, Representative Ken DeGraff, another local representative here in Colorado Springs, asking a local educator a question during testimony on this specific bill. Go ahead and play it.
do have them online. We've
Okay.
got 10 seconds to the bill.
All right. And that was a local educator testifying at the committee hearing on HB 25-1312, the Kelly Loving Act, Transgender Bill of Rights. So I believe we have Representative Scott Bottoms here on the line. Do we have him? All right. Hey, can you hear me, Representative? Yeah, thanks for coming on the Peak. We appreciate you. And I just wanted to speak with you a little bit about what you thought about this bill. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions here. There's a lot of coverage and frustration on this bill, as you know. I've looked over it a little bit, but it's kind of hard to keep up. So I wanted to get you to give us your official impression from the perspective of a pastor who has seen quite a bit of legislation pass through the House.
Plus is a Marxist ideology to control and to undermine parents and to undermine children, and in the process destroy our kids. And so this is just another push to push the transgender agenda, and they've been doing it forever. But this one is finally starting. This has kind of started the cascade out of the House, so that people in the state are hearing more and more about this. This is making national news. I was on 2 national programs yesterday. This is starting to get out there, but this is an attack. It's not about caring for people or any of those kind of things. It is about, we are going to take your kids away if you do not affirm them. And it specifically mentions in the bill when there is a custody battle, the parent that will side with gender affirming instead of say anything to their child to the negative, they will get that child. That's the way the bill is worded. But yeah, it's an attack to take kids away from parents that if they even hint. See, counselors in the state of Colorado are already not allowed to say anything to the negative if the child comes in and says that they're wanting to transition or they think they're the opposite sex or whatever. Now it's parents, and this can be used to fine parents, and it can be used to eventually put parents in jail. But it is definitely going to be used to take kids away from parents.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen this firsthand. I've talked to a father, Adam, who basically had his rights stripped away. It all started with him not wanting his son to wear a dress, he said. So we're seeing this, we're seeing this a lot. I feel like it's not getting the coverage it needs. So I wanted to bring you on, and I think it's important from a family perspective, but also from a perspective of faith and the church. I know you're a local pastor. How do you think this bill could potentially impact non-affirming churches if passed through?
Well, the ultimate foundation of the thought process behind the bill is anti-God. Okay, so God made a mistake when he made you, and God made a mistake when he made all these kids. So the very first time that a girl or boy thinks, I'm the other, I'm the opposite sex, then that's proof that God made a mistake and they need to be in different bodies. They need to be affirmed differently. And so this is, a lot of Christians are not seeing this. The church is not seeing this, I think, to the gravity. But this is a direct attack on the fact that we're created in the image of God. And so the church needs to be the tip of the spear in fighting for this. This is going to undermine Christian parents. We know when kids are growing up that they get upset and they're going to be mad at their parents at different times. And so what they do is they can call up social services and say, well, I think I'm a boy or I think I'm a girl, and social services will start stepping in and run them through the family court system and take them away. Now, the kid will realize later that was a stupid thing to do, but in the process, this transgender ideology, they love this. This is designed to hurt Christians and designed to hurt Christian parents.
Yeah, absolutely. And just from my own studies, it seems heavily connected with Satanism, modern day Satanism, LaVeyan Satanism, and just the whole philosophy of self-enlightenment. You are holy, or you can become holy through this transformation process. So I think it's important to talk about this stuff. So basically, what you're saying is this isn't so much the affirmation of an individual. This is more the affirmation of an ideology in disguise.
This is a complete takeover and control of state of parental rights and children by an ideology. Marxism cannot have God involved. You have to reject God. You have to eject God from the conversation to have Marxism, and that's what this is. And it is, by the way, yes, it is rooted in a Satanist mentality. This is the things that we're doing right now in the Capitol. It's gotten worse. This is my third year as representative. It gets worse every year. We are going into the most dark, evil, demonic things you can imagine, and we're putting state money behind it. We're putting state force behind it, and it is to control. This is not about an individual that is struggling with their identity. This is about controlling the state, the power, and the money. The transgender business is a multi-billion-dollar business every year, specifically with the surgeries, and that's the point of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, and I appreciate your perspective. Now, as a pastor and a representative, what are some words of encouragement you could leave Colorado families who are concerned about this bill with?
I think there's a few things that are actually very encouraging in the middle of all this darkness. Is the word is getting out. We've been trying to do that since I got in the House and before I got in the House. We're trying to get the word out. We're getting the word out now. I just had another video that when I spoke on this bill in the floor, this video is going viral. This is what we need to see happen. We've got 2 or 3 other reps that some of their statements and stuff are going viral about this. This is what we need to get the word out. Now, for parents, be encouraged with this, because this is going to immediately blow up into lawsuits. We will start seeing from the federal level, we're going to see some things. Many news outlets are starting to pick up on this. And I'm going to say this from a selfish point of view. I'm also running for governor. This is going to propel me to the governor's seat. The people of Colorado are done with this. The Democrats keep, and it's mostly leftist Marxists. The Democrats in this House don't represent the people of Colorado or the Democrats of Colorado, but they keep doubling down on dumb. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is enough's enough, and the people of Colorado are going to have enough. And we're seeing a swing across the United States, but specifically here in Colorado, we're seeing a swing toward we're done with this, we're tired of this, and we are ready to see a major transformational change of the state of Colorado. And as governor, I'm going to bring that. And we're going to see some seats in the House and the Senate be picked up on the tail of this too. So that's some of the good news. It's going to go into lawsuit. We're going to start seeing major changes in the state. And when everybody's done and everybody's got enough, the bottom line is I'm going to be the governor in the process.
Excellent. Well, you heard it here, people. Scott Bottoms, District 15 representative, local pastor, running for governor. We're going to be back here on the Peak News. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. We're going to talk about the Gender Affirming Care Summit that I went up to this past weekend, and we're going to say the quiet stuff out loud.
Mayweather Boxing and Fitness is a high-energy, instructor-led workout designed by undefeated boxing great Floyd Mayweather. Our classes combine boxing, cardio, endurance, and strength training to get you stronger, increase energy, and build confidence.
I didn't know if
wherever you are in your fitness
it
journey.
was awkward because I wasn't sure if you were still on the line, was gonna say anything, or I didn't want to say. I didn't know if I should say bye, but I didn't know how long we had till we were going out. I lost the time clock on that, so I'm gonna restart it.
I gave you time till the music started. That was the time. That was when I was giving it to you. That was till the music started, so then you had that other 30 seconds.
Okay. So that's till the start of the music. Okay.
It depends what you want. I could do either.
Let's do to the start of the music.
And
Yeah.
then at that point, especially with a call-in, you want to really get it back or try to get it back, because with a call-in, it'll take 20 seconds to get it back at that point.
That worked out good. I like how that worked out, but yeah.
Time to outro was perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
The sound flow.
A little jumbled there at the end, but yeah, it was good.
Cool. I was putting these headphones on so they could hear it.
So I'm going to make sure I get the timer right on this one, because this is very important to go in the gym rant, I know. But
the tune-up or replace your home furnace to keep you warm now and for
You said
many years to
212?
come. Hi, this is Chaim Goldman, the Watt.
So what I want to do in this one, Zach, is I want to play the pastor because I really think it's important to play Pastor Jeremy.
Right.
So we're back. We just had Scott Bottoms on. We're talking about 1312 and from a faith-based perspective.
Right.
And I just want to play one more clip for you from a Lotus. And then after that, I'm gonna whatever time I have left, I'm gonna hit on this.
Okay,
Which
before the gym rant.
exactly.
Are you backtracking? Like your time, you know, when you
Yes.
get out with the gym rant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, give me cues if you can, but I'll
Trust
make
you,
sure.
It's hard for me to do the math. Too.
But if I'm ever paying attention, I will be on this one. So
Just try to get out in time, whatever that math adds up, so you don't have to cut gym off.
okay, so we'll say if I start it, when the radio, so I'm starting at radio, then at around 5 is when I'll go out,
Yeah.
and then 18-second window it looks like. So I'll just start to go out at 5 minutes. So there's an 18, or should I use that 18? Should I try to get it close?
If you wait up to the 18, there won't be anything. So maybe take half of that.
Okay.
About.
I got it.
And then And okay, you aren't going to play that last clip. Balance, whatever, both sides.
Yeah. I mean, we should. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it because I can talk about detransitioners.
If you think there's time, I think it's pretty short, right?
It's 113 and 54. Yeah. I mean, it's two of the five. Yeah. We can just bump this.
Okay, or you could even mention it at the last segment.
Let's do it.
If you're quick. If you really
Let's do it.
Okay, hit that timer.
And we're back here on the Peak News. I'm Jordan Baldwin filling in for Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and this is 101.1 FM, AM 1460. And today we've been talking about the Kelly Loving Act, HB 25-1312, protections for the transgender individuals and around this misgendering issue. Scott Bottoms broke it down to us. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this, and I believe even play some more of these clips from testimony because I want you to hear them, and I want you to hear it, and I want you to decide. So let's play it from a balanced perspective. And, you know, we heard another pastor out there talking about some similar things. We had Scott Bottoms on the last segment. He had a lot to say. If you missed it, go ahead and tune back in. But this particular pastor was during the committee hearing. He came to testify, and his name is Pastor Jeremy of a local church in Arvada, I believe, Redeemer Temple. And let's go ahead and play that clip. Do we have that? Yeah, let's play that. I think I was off a couple seconds, so.
You need to cut that next one off. Have your mic on to say, hey, cut the clip, and then say, hey, we're going to start the gym rant. If you
Gotcha. So that was a local pastor from up north, and he was talking about some of the same things that Representative Scott Bottoms was talking about in the last segment. And I was thinking it's important for the public to hear that because there has been a lot of coverage on this bill. There's been a lot of people that were testifying, and I believe would continue to testify if there's another opportunity. But I also wanted to play a clip from one of the youth from the other side, because I think it's important we hear both sides. Do we have that clip? Can we play it? So that was a local youth that was testifying on HB 25-1312. And I think it's important for the public to hear that because this is an issue that revolves around parental rights. And I think that's what everybody heard in that testimony there. But as you heard before, we have to hear stuff we don't like sometimes, especially as children. Sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's criticism, sometimes it's constructive, but it builds character. And it seems like what I'm hearing is people are saying that this bill in its intent is coercing speech and then also coming against constitutional rights. So, it's important to look into these things more. It's important to cover this and get the full perspective. I would encourage people to go testify, to get out and vote. When I talked to Representative DeGraff, that's what he said. It's important to testify, but get out and vote because that's where the real battle is. And we have Jim Miller with a Jim rant here coming up. I appreciate you sticking with me today. I'm going to be back in the next segment. Let's go to Jim.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there at the end.
Oh, no,
Sorry,
you're good.
that's part of the gym rant. Cool. All right, so you know what you're promoting. Did my dad tell you about a show tomorrow?
No, he didn't. He said, just say there's a good show coming up.
Okay, say there's a good show coming up. Do you know about Monday?
No. What's Monday?
Well, I don't have one. Just say we got a lot of shows coming up.
I got you because I was gonna talk about the Israel rally a little bit.
Okay, sure, yeah. So just say we have a good show coming up tomorrow. You don't have to talk about Monday. And then
Okay.
be quick to talk about this. You know about the Larry Elder show, and you have the regular script, don't you?
No, I don't. If you have that real quick, that'd be great.
So you're gonna want to say, if you're able to say all this, and including this, you don't have the blurbs about this though. I wish you did, because this is still live. People can still sign up.
Okay. So do I have a minute and 20 total?
No, a minute and 20 plus 1. So
Plus-
2:20 technically. One.
Okay.
There's a whole minute bumper at the end.
Gotcha.
So we
That's
got
when the
this,
music's. I
and then
got
you're
you.
gonna want to say that for the most part. If there's a
So
chance.
okay. Gotcha.
And then say there's a passive recommendator coming up. I think we have. Here, I'm gonna send you a picture of the Passover flyer. Are you gonna want to read that? Are you gonna want your phone open for that?
No, you can send it.
So I'm sending you this photo. Say pass. Just if you're able to promote and say, hey, Passover at the Pinery, it's Thursday. Just say Thursday, next Thursday, but you have to RSVP register by. You have to register by tomorrow, and then the way to do that is you go to the. I guess you just say. You go to the peak / events. To sign up. You have to register.
the peak.
/ events. I think we're about to be on.
The peak.news / for okay. And we're back here on the Peak News. I'm Jordan Baldwin, closing it out for Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. And it was great to be here with you today. I've been honored. We've had Scott Bottoms on, local representative. We've heard some local testimony on HB 25-1312. We've talked about it from a faith-based perspective. And one thing I will say is that we need more coverage like this. There is a definite lack of faith-based coverage. And that it's important that families and the people of faith get engaged. And they don't check out. And they don't get discouraged. It's important that we pray. And, that's why I think it's something that needs to be done. More events. At First Amendment Media, we're going to be putting on a series of events this spring and summer. We're putting on the Israel Independence Day celebration. As you know, April 30th, Israel Independence Day. It's coming up pretty quick. And we decided to help put on an event at the Colorado State Capitol. And we want people to come out. We want people to pray. We want people to feel free to speak. Come on out and join us and say the quiet stuff out loud. I want to leave you with a scripture today. Lamentations 3:22. 2 scriptures. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Folks, sometimes I'm overwhelmed and discouraged, but I'm also consumed by his grace. Tomorrow, tune in. We have a great show for you. Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, is going to be back. We have the Passover Seder coming up on April 17th. Go ahead and make sure you register for that by tomorrow on the Peak News / the peak.news / events. We're going to be back with you. Stay tuned.